at G4TV.com's weekly wrap-up of everything awesome in video games. I'm Billy Brickhammer, editorial director of gaming for G4TV.com, and it's episode 10 for the week of September 21st, and it's the Tokyo Game Show edition of Feedback. So this week on the show, we've got Patrick Klepek, the lovely, intelligent Morgan Webb, and Sterling McGarvey rounding out today's crew, and we're at Tokyo Game Show.
Sterling, also the tallest man in Japan.
It's true.
It feels really good. Even on a subway that's jam-packed like 80 people, I can see all the way to the other car.
So now, you've never been to Tokyo before?
Never been to Tokyo, Japan. Yeah, no, I mean, where we've been staying and traveling to and from is Shibuya, which is like, you've seen Lost in Translation, like your stereotype of Japan is Shibuya. So for my first time to be in Japan, to be Shibuya, it's just been so overwhelming and loud and noisy. It's the complete opposite of America in so many ways, and it's been really cool so far.
Now, you guys have been before, but are you having a good time here in Tokyo?
I have. This is my second TGS. It's been really fascinating to see how, in 1 year's time, just the way the show has changed, the way it's transformed. It's lost a little bit of weight, but it's still looking good.
You know, I think it's lost a little bit of weight, but it's definitely more friendly to American press. I've been coming to the show for a really long time. I don't want to mention how many years now, but everything's a little bit smoother. In years past, they wouldn't even have translated press releases, so then you had to get your translator to sit there and try to read you everything that was on the press release so you could do your interview. And this year, it seems like they've finally gotten the idea that there's international press who maybe wants to attend the show and learn a little bit something about their game. So, you know,
it's true. It's
good
true.
For the future.
Now, normally I would start out the show like we did with E3 and Gamescom and talk about the press conferences, and there were 2 press conferences, but they were kind of.
I got the short end of the stick. I had to go to the Kazurai keynote where, I mean, he just brought out the wand, and that was about it. But then Sterling got to go to the more exciting one where there was actual announcements.
I love how you call it the short end of the stick. At least yours had a translator on
Fair
the
enough.
headset. We have a little angel in the audience who managed to help me out with the translation on mine. I still owe her a beer. But overall, it was just, I don't know. I mean, it seemed like the ball was in Sony's court. This is their home turf, and the ball kind of got dropped. I expected so much more out of it.
I think what it is maybe at this show is like Sony is not competing against Microsoft here. Microsoft is not a big console in Japan. I mean, I've heard various reasons for why it doesn't have traction. You know, it's an American company is a big reason. You know, I've also heard that the Japanese audience is a little bit suspicious of the Red Ring of Death issue, and they're less likely to sort of take a chance on hardware that they know could be faulty. Which is weird because I think I owned probably 3 PS2s, and not because I needed more than one of them at any given time.
And a lot more PS1s.
Yeah. So, you know, I find that reason maybe a little bit suspect. But it's like Sony doesn't have to bring its A game because it's the only game in town here. I mean, it's the Wii and Sony, and they're not in direct competition.
Yeah, but usually Sony comes with some big guns. Like, even at Gamescom, they said that, you know, we would see some really big announcements with their new motion control technology. And you were at, you know...
I wasn't there, but I saw pictures, and I'm not sure my expectation of a big announcement about Sony's motion controller was to play a game like Resident Evil, you have to hold a DualShock in one hand and then have the Harry Potter wand in the other.
I know. They definitely, I think they wanted to have a little something. But remember, we're in the middle of a console cycle right now. There's not a lot of hardware announcements that they can make. So we're sitting there being like, I have to play RE5 again?
See, in my opinion, I felt like I was looking at HD retreads of stuff that I've already seen on the Wii. So they showed RE5. It has motion controls. It looks like Resident Evil 4 Wii Edition in HD. And the Little Big Planet segments reminded me a lot of Super Mario Galaxy, where you have somebody who really doesn't like games collecting all the stars for you while you do the heavy lifting.
What do you do in Little Big Planet exactly?
So the idea of Little Big Planet is you have motion. One person's using the motion controller and pointing and clicking. So they're moving things around. For example, they had like a statue head with huge buck teeth, and you had to click on each buck tooth and like lift it up so Sackboy could run underneath. They did a cute animation where they dropped the tooth and crushed him. But otherwise, it just seems like it's kind of your casual family member, friend, whoever is playing with you and doing all the light work, and you're still playing a Sackboy.
But Little Big Planet wasn't exactly this hardcore gaming experience to begin with. I mean,
See, 'cause I think that's actually cool. I think just sort of like a light add-on that someone can do while they're playing if they're not I mean, the physics in Little Big Planet are a little bit different. So I think just that you could interact with someone. I liked that in Super Mario Galaxy, that you could just collect the stars. Like, it wasn't much, but it was...
I thought it was cool. I think it's cute. It's just that when it came down to it, I thought, all right, cool, you've got big plans for PSP. And I will say that during the press conference, they had some very cool announcements about Gran Turismo, except that it's coming out in March in Japan. Otherwise, the cross-compatibility with the PSP, I feel like that's something that Sony should totally be doing with a lot of their stuff across the boards to revitalize the PSP. But
when the Gran Turismo PSP, you can take your cars that you unlock and bring them over to GT5.
And that's the kind of stuff that I'm... Well, there's certain things like you can do, like, I think it's, what was it? Right offhand, it's hard for me to remember that in front of me, but I know there was another cross-compatibility feature. I think it was dealt with video and replays.
Features? Really?
I totally use those features.
Really?
Sterling might be the only one.
Do you know anybody else who's like, hi, I got my PSP, I'm going to hook it up to my PS3?
I use remote play.
I feel like it's cool that it's there, but I'm never going to use it.
But I'm not the kind of person who's necessarily going to take advantage of that.
Exactly.
I'm sitting in my house and I don't want to go look for my PSP.
That took me a good half an hour before I came. I'm like, Tokyo
I
Game
know
Show?
where it is.
I'm going to play my PSP? Where's my charger?
We'll have a lot more on Gran Turismo 5 next week because I'm going to check it out tomorrow at Polyphony. So
I already checked it out.
I'm going to Polyphony. It's supposed to be one of the coolest studios. I've never been there. I've been a big fan of the series.
Yes,
so
that was actually for a little fun fact for you all. The first shoot X-Play ever did in Japan was at Polyphony Studios. We went on a little tour of their office and everything like that.
I heard it's slick.
It is pretty slick. If you go back and watch the footage, though, Adam Sessler and I had gotten in about 5 minutes before from LA, and there's definitely times more like this. I mean, that car looks amazing.
Yes,
I'm sure it does.
It's fun. It's true. But now, Games of Tokyo Game Show. There weren't any really, really big, surprise, shocking announcements. Usually there's one or two or three games that everyone's like, holy crap, did you see this? But, you know, there were still a lot of really good games. You said you saw a lot of games in the Capcom booth that you really liked, Sterling.
You know, it's funny because as you were talking about how you didn't have your PSP prep for the flight, I brought my DS, I brought my PSP, I barely played both of them because iPhone has completely dominated all of my portable gaming time. But when I went to Capcom, I got a look at Okami Den, which looks absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to play it probably sometime in early 2011, knowing how they localize stuff. And the really big surprise was Ghost Trick, which was the Ace Attorney team, apparently. They're doing a game in which you play as like a dead guy and jump into objects. And you have all these different, like it's almost like a Rube Goldberg contraption where you're a ghost inhabiting like a ladder and you make the ladder fall out and it makes a guy trip and it scares the crap out of him and so he runs away. And it's like just really clever, unique ideas. And that's what I love about Tokyo. And that's what I love about the Japanese gaming industry is some of like the ingenuity and creativity that you see in their games as opposed to the 38 billionth JRPG.
See, the problem, the complete opposite to that is, like, I don't know if I was the only one that saw Tecmo's Quantum Theory, like their Gears of War looking game,
I saw it.
Like Gears of War with like a smear of poop over it. Like it's.
How do you really feel?
It's
don't hold back.
Because it's so blatant. Like even when you're running in the game, like the camera comes down and does like the same sort of thing. It's so blatant that they just wanted to make a Gears of War with, I don't know, slightly Japanese Gears of War art.
Well, they were showing that off last year, and last year I felt like the theme of TGS was a lot of executives sitting around in a room in front of everybody going, oh my God, we've lost the world. What are we going to do? How are we going to get the West back? They don't care about our games anymore.
They don't care about Dynasty Warriors
anymore.
Exactly. Like, they
when
saw
did that
right
happen?
Through Samurai Warrior Orochi 7, and now what are we going to do?
And the answer is, rip off Gears of War.
But
hey.
there were,
We interviewed the producer earlier, and I was like, so, Gears of War, huh? He's like, yeah, we've done the ninja thing. We've got all these other Japanese-style games. We know that this type of game is popular, so this is why we did it. I mean, he was completely honest about that.
I'd be curious to actually see how well Gears of War did in Japan. I don't know the numbers, the sales numbers over here. I wasn't thinking that it... Like, if you had to ask me, I wouldn't.
Yeah,
it
wouldn't be in my top 10. But
yeah,
I mean, there was like a Gears of War panel that was happening here at TGS, so maybe there was enough of a niche audience.
I'm trying to remember. Wasn't Gears 2 banned here for a while until they had a censored cut?
I don't remember that.
Thinking of it. I think so. Anyway, somebody will look it up on Wikipedia and put something in the comments, I'm sure.
Yeah.
All right, so now, even though Microsoft doesn't do very well here, in years past, they've brought out a lot of Japanese-style games with Japanese developers. now I think they've kind of come to the conclusion. They're like, you know what, screw it. We're just going to bring what we know how to do. We're going to bring our big titles in and see, what's up.
Are you saying the Blue Dragon wasn't just a runaway smash hit?
It was actually one of the best.
It did run away.
Here.
Yeah. It did run away.
It ran to the DS, but you saw.
We both saw Crackdown
I
too.
Crackdown. I mean, the thing is, like, I was excited about Crackdown before I even walked in that room. I've been excited for Crackdown as soon as I saw like the very first frame in the press conference in E3. So I'm pre-sold pretty much.
Yeah.
And I asked them, I talked to them today, and they swore they wouldn't ruin it.
It's really nice of them. They would promise that.
They promised they wouldn't ruin it, so I'm holding them to that.
No, did you get your hands on it?
Yeah, we actually got to play Deathmatch, which I think like a lot of people kind of made up their own Deathmatch modes in the original Crackdown because they weren't actually there.
Right.
But in this, Deathmatch feels really natural for Crackdown. And what's really good for Crackdown 2 is that you're not going to confuse this with Call of Duty, Modern Warfare. Like, this isn't something that you would do this in addition to Call of Duty. Like, this isn't going to take away from that because the sense of verticality that the game has is so different because its physics model is completely different than any other kind of shooter, first or third person. Like, I immediately felt natural as soon as I was playing. It took me a good minute or two before, like, I was in the ebb and flow of the game.
And I can actually see people who maybe don't gravitate sort of the Call of Duty, more realistic shooter be really interested in this game.
That would be me.
Yeah.
Which Call of Duty was also like right back there, which is in the Square booth, if you noticed, which is kind of.
It had a fog machine.
It did, and a snowmobile.
It was adorable
And
to
nobody.
see. Yeah, I was going to say, it was adorable
It was
to
like
see
two
all
dudes.
three people camped out.
Nobody in there.
But
you know what? Like, this today actually was sort of the second of the business days. So tomorrow is the main day when basically anybody with $10 and an 8-year-old can get into the show. It's going to be madness. And then I think we'll get a better idea at that point of sort of the popularity of different franchises within TGS.
So it'll be 6 people in front of Call of Duty instead of 3.
One of the
You know,
hardest.
we'll walk down there and we'll look because I wonder if people will be checking it out.
I think one of the hardest boosts that's going to get it, to get in tomorrow is going to be Square Enix
Yeah.
on back of us.
Yeah.
They showed a lot of new trailers. Final Fantasy 13 playable again, the new demo. You saw some of the trailers.
I checked out some of the trailers. Nier, it looks kind of peculiar. Like, it seems like they're trying to go for a very Square Enix style hack and slash, Devil May Cry, Bayonetta, God of War, you name it, Wolverine, whatever hacking, slashing, blood-wrenching action game with that kind of very RPG, Square Enix art style. They have it playable over at Microsoft's booth. I didn't get a chance to get over there today and check it out. I'm going to brave the crowds tomorrow to get some Nier time.
Good luck. It's been nice knowing you.
I'll still be the tallest man amongst the thousands.
In my opinion, there were 2 games in their booth that absolutely blew me away. The new trailer for Final Fantasy 13, which Raven saw at the event, a couple weeks ago. I had never seen it before, and nobody's going to see it for a while because Square never really lets their trailers out too much. But it was honestly one of the most breathtaking visual things I've ever seen in CG. And I know every time I mention 13, you kind of go, yawn. But it's, holy crap. It's just, for a Final Fantasy fan and someone who just appreciates, like, fine CG, and nobody can do it better than Square Enix.
But their character models are so weird and unattractive and
Because it's weird, like, all the things
I will disagree with the unattractive. They're
unattractive.
Beautiful.
Weird.
Beautiful.
Just,
beautifully, like, technically done. Because,
exactly. I mean, technically done. Technically very beautiful. Like, I see that you could... I just, personally, I find the art style, I don't find it attractive. Like,
yeah, having seen the trailer and then having played the game, which is all in Japanese, so I can't make any sort of judgment about, like, sure, the menus work and it makes for some pretty moves, but, like, it's hard to make, and, like, yeah, the CG's great, it looks good in game, but, like,
I'm not
like,
I'm not, characters.
yeah,
I don't
I'm
want to
not,
be that character, and I don't want to play through
it's
that
hard to
character.
get any sense of the
when
game.
that comes out next year, I have a very good feeling about it. I'm just saying. So,
But do you think it's going to be popular with the American audience?
Sure.
I mean, obviously, there's the Final
Fantasy
Fantasy series. Like, I understand that there's a subgenre. I feel like there's no way that game is going to come, like, expand beyond that audience at all.
Well, the other game, which I know I'm just waiting for you.
Let's just go. Let's go
Fine.
straight from Final
Kingdom
Fantasy to the
Hearts.
better one.
Birth by Sleep. I played it. It's
Go.
awesome. I know JP over there. Every time I say Kingdom Hearts, you're in the room, which is great. So it's excellent. 3 new characters. It's a prequel. It looks fantastic on the PSP.
It does look really good. And again, they have a bunch of Disney environments that I want to walk through, but I don't want to play the game. Like but maybe there's an
Hate
evolution
Disney.
here.
Hate it.
Really?
What?
You're in the wrong country. They kind of like it here.
They do, and that's good for them.
So I guess you made the stink face when you were on your way up here from Tokyo Disney then, right?
I passed it right by. I've actually been to Tokyo Disney because I think it was Koei gave us sort of a tour of it one year, and we did like a, some sort of junket thing for some game that I obviously don't remember what it was. It made a really big impression on me. I don't really remember what game that was.
So did anybody else check out Metal Gear Solid?
I have not had a chance to download Peace Walker.
Peace Walker available to download right in the Konami booth.
Haven't had a chance yet. That's my plan tomorrow.
Yeah, it's actually really fantastic. Co-op and single player, and apparently it's leaked online. So not only can you watch the first 15 minutes on G4TV.com, but you can probably find a copy of it somewhere online.
Hey,
to download.
now I'm happy that I found my PSP. Boom.
No, it's actually it's a sequel to 3, which I still think Metal Gear Solid 3 was one of the best ones. And we heard a rumor that it would be playable here at TGS, and not only that, they're giving the whole freaking demo.
Which is how I feel like everybody should be doing with the PSP. If you want to show your game off, have it at a show, make it downloadable. They should do the same thing with the DS at a trade show. It saves you the lines and the headache. Yeah,
they used to do that more. I haven't seen it in a while. It's true. But they do have the cute girls walking around with the PSPs. To try.
Oh, with like the PSP Go's tethered to themselves?
Yes.
I saw it, I was like, wow, there's ought to be a walk around PSP Go's. And then you see the wire tethered to their hand.
Yes.
Someone should jack both of them. Just pick them up and run.
You let me know how that
The
goes.
girl and the PSP?
Maybe I'll do that tomorrow on the public day. Nobody will see me. I'll just run through the crowd. It'll work. So.
If it were me, I'd be busted.
So did you have a good show? Are you going to the public day tomorrow? Because that's
no, absolutely.
the crap hits the fan.
No, I mean, they used to only have one business day. Thank God for 2 business days. We can actually get most of our stuff, most of our segments done, and then on the public day we can walk around and, check out stuff we missed. Like I haven't seen Metal Gear yet, and, go over and do that. Also, the cosplayers tomorrow are going to be ridiculous.
You are in for a treat, Patrick.
Oh, I am. The excitement is glowing on my face.
Because you know what? They put American cosplayers to shame.
The lack of air conditioning in this freaking building. Seriously, next year, air conditioning. Please, just a little bit.
Billy's having a bit of a meltdown.
Yeah, this is...
Literally, I literally mean he's melting.
It is actually above the entire show floor, so all the heat from the show floor and the lights and the people and everything is just radiating up here.
Yeah, I'll be interested just because I want to see... there's not enough people here to see what people are interested in, really. Like, it's like, oh, right, there's people waiting for Final Fantasy. So I'm curious to see, going over to, Microsoft's booth, what are people interested in? Yeah. What of that stuff is actually attracting them?
What I'm going to be curious about is what's the reception going to be with Natal? Because I snuck out before we started taping to go check out Natal. I missed it at E3, and I could see through the little transparent green area where they had the little makeshift booth. People were just sneaking in. It was like the little car in Jurassic Park, the T-Rex. Everybody's just up in there, and people seemed super fascinated, super interested. And I was thinking about how that contrasts with how Sony took their approach to motion controls. And having watched the demos during the press conferences and seeing, basically what I was saying is kind of like Wii HD versus Natal, which is a different animal. I mean, we're just seeing tech demos right now, but it almost seems like it's unfair to try to compare them both. After witnessing both of them and seeing how they function, I'm not saying something like, oh, Natal is stratospheric, it's going to change gaming, but seeing them both up close, there's motion controls, there's motion sensing, and that's about it.
I mean, I just feel like it's going to be something that people are going to have. I mean, remember the iToy was going to be amazing and revolutionary, and it was something that people played with for 20 minutes, and we're like, I don't know how often I personally will bring out my little Natal camera. I feel like it's going to be something for the casual gamer, but that's not bad. And I just wonder if it's going to be sensitive enough to compete with Sony. I mean, Sony seems to be real sensitive. Versus, I have to say Natal, I was kind of hitting the ball, but it was random. So, we'll see.
Well, we'll have to see in applications. Maybe next year we'll see some, from more Japanese developers. So.
Yeah, or maybe I'll have my own little Milo in my house.
That's a creepy way to end the show.
Milo was the little demo they did, Peter Molyneux did from Lionhead Studios. You guys put some B-roll with Milo up at that point, right?
Yes.
Okay,
something like that.
Appreciate it.
But,
appreciate it.
I think that does it for feedback. TGS edition. I'm going to go jump in the shower because...
Yeah, you need to just go straight to the
pool. I don't know